All right. Well, now that we have Ben back on his desk and Jarret's back where he belongs, the universe is just aligned. It's back the way it should be. This is fantastic. Hey, Jarret.
It's true. Hey, still not feeling the warmth of Ben's seat at this point in time, but I'm getting there. I'm working up. I'm working up the mojo to travel. It's the reward. You got to risk it to get.
I tell you this. I tell you the secret. Just go down to Coles and buy yourself 2 lamb shoulders, and then just put them on your spare seat until they rot, and then it'll be close.
See, I was doing it the wrong way around. I was putting them down the front of my trousers. But
well, what I'll do
if you want me sitting on your lap,
Jarret, I'll make a silicone mold for you.
Yes.
You can take it wherever you want.
That's perfect. I love it. And then if I go to the movies with Ben, I can put it on the seat next to me. And if anyone comes to the seat taken, I say, what does it look like?
And you can just sit on Ben's lap at any time.
Yeah, well, that's true. I could use it as a booster seat.
I'm working towards a space truckers square pig-esque thing where my ass just kind of melds together. You know, like, I don't know if you ever did that experiment where if you had
you want a webbed ass. You want a webbed ass. That's what it is.
Yeah, like a Band-Aid. If you put a Band-Aid around your fingers and they were together long enough, eventually the skin would kind of grow. You'd join together.
Yeah. No, I did not know that. Well, I'm glad I never experimented with that. That sounds dangerous.
You just got to find a lacquer band big enough for your ass.
Your skin will grow, and that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, like I'll have to insert like a pipe, some kind of a massive pipe.
And Jarret, isn't it great to have Ben back? Like,
it's great. It's great. I have dearly missed him, and I've missed his adventures abroad, and the tales of what the toiletries are like, or toilets are like, not toiletries. I assume they're much the same.
Yes, well, he's already told us a little bit about that. So
good.
We're gonna move on to what the fuck's coming out this week.
It's a pretty interesting week because we've got one tentpole release. And everything else is coming from indies as such. The tentpole release is the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yep. And
it's coming out in all the formats, 4K, Blu-ray, DVD.
Way bigger than anyone could have anticipated.
Yeah, huge, gigantic. Yeah. This thing's a juggernaut. I mean, it's still showing in cinemas, and it probably will still be showing in cinemas whilst it's on home entertainment, because we're moving this week's still school holidays. So, I
actually thought you were talking about Umbrella's release of the original film, not the... I forgot about the new one.
Well, yeah, I did hear an inkling that there was talk of a re-release down the track from Umbrella. So hopefully, if that happens, it's going to be... we want that work print in 4K quality. It's not going to happen. I'm worried they won't be even able to include it on a future release.
Why didn't they put that in the Roland Joffrey box set? Because he produced it.
Oh, yeah, of course he did too. Yeah. Nobody wants ownership of that movie. So
except
for Umbrella, obviously, because they can make a good buck out of it. But yeah, that one's coming out on 4K, Blu-ray and DVD. It's got Dolby Atmos, funnily enough, on the 4K and the Blu-rays. So you don't need to get the Blu-ray, the 4K. But if you do get the 4K, of course, you get that HDR10 grading. And for a movie like this, obviously, that's going to add to it. There's special features, not many. There's 4 featurettes, a music video, and I think the trailer might even be on there as well. Is one of
the featurettes just on his accent?
No, but funnily enough, there is one with Anna Taylor-Joy talking about leadership lessons she learnt from playing Princess Peach in the film, which sounds fucking riveting. I can't wait to dig into the whole 4 minutes of that. So yeah, I mean, it would have been great if they'd actually have done some stuff that tied to the video game franchise a bit more than just featurette fluff pieces that run at about 6 minutes. But
I would have tried.
There's an opportunity for a double dip down the track.
I would have tried to source that very first movie from 1985 that's 60 minutes long and it's only ever been released in Japan. Like, I would have tried to get that on there.
That would have been it. But that would have required effort. That would have required an independent distributor to be handling the title. But at this point in time, sadly, it's just Universal. So that's the major release for this week. And then the other distributor that's releasing some good titles out in home entertainment, one excellent title, I should say, because it's Viavision and it's 4 Rooms and it's making its Blu-ray debut locally. Actually, it's making its home entertainment debut because it's never made it to DVD here in Australia. So it's coming out on Blu-ray. And it's actually got special feature content on it, which is surprising. It is archival content, but it's good to have it all in the one spot. There's featurette with the directors, then there's a featurette on the making of the film, then the theatrical trailer, and they put it in a nice little slipcase, but it's an all new 4K restoration. But the only thing that troubles me about this whole 4K restoration thing, and they've used it a couple times on their press releases for releases, is where it says 4K scan of the file. And I'm like, of the file? The first time I thought they just screwed up and it was supposed to be film, right? But they've done this about 3 times. And I'm like, how do you 4K scan a file? Does it mean that the file was 1080p and you've run it through AI to upscale it to 4K and then compressed it down to 1080p for the Blu-ray again? I don't know. But
maybe they just mean the cover.
Interesting. Yeah, well, true. And it is a glossy slipcover, so it does look nice. So that's the one I'm really excited about. In addition to that, they're putting out the Wolf Creek Ultimate Edition. Now, this is the standard edition of the Ultimate Edition, so it's about $20 cheaper, and you don't get the 3D lenticular cover or those 6 art cards, which is more than fine. And it's a good release. I remember I discussed a couple of weeks ago, both cuts of the film, all the legacy special features on there, and it's a 2-disc set because they've got the theatrical and the director's cut on separate discs. So that one's coming out, and it's at a more affordable price point than the previous limited lenticular one that was limited to 1,000 units. Then there's a couple like back catalogue titles they're putting out. One which has been out before through Sony, but it's been out of print for like a decade, which is Alan Parker's Midnight Express, which I love. Great film, harrowing movie. But the other one's a Blu-ray debut locally. It's been on Blu-ray in the States and the UK for years, but Reality Bites is finally coming out locally on Blu-ray. And it's got all the special features from the Universal release in the States, which is good. Commentary and featurettes and some retrospective interviews. I mean, it's a fucking classic. If you've got time to lean, you've got time to clean.
It's a great movie. I love it. Ben Stiller's first directorial film.
Yeah, and what a run of films he had as well. Because, I mean, he followed it up with The Cable Guy, which I feel like over the years, it just gets more and more sort of credit that it rightly deserved back when it released in like 96.
It's more chilling and disturbing than ever before.
Absolutely.
I will say, speaking of Cable Guy, that when
you laid a cable in Europe?
When I was in the UK, there was nothing like we were sitting there going, why is it that you have to go to America to see knights jousting at medieval times when in the UK, where they actually have all the castles and stuff, you cannot? They do not have that as a thing that you can
as an attraction. Yeah, well, I mean, you've got an idea there, man. You should possibly look at franchising it over there,
setting one up.
I like it
in the UK.
And then there's a bunch of titles, Little John's, Friar's Tuck.
Friar's Tuck, get into it.
And then the other titles that are coming out from Viavision are on their Imprint line, and there's a few. We've got Damage, which is a romantic drama with Jeremy Irons. No, it's full of gratuitous sort of sex.
Nasty,
yeah. I've got to revisit it.
Pinocchio's tits to the world, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. So Damage, Melina, the Italian film, Not One Less, My Summer of Love, Leap, and the last one I want to mention is because you've got a sample copy of it, and I think you've watched it, The Bounty, Glenn.
Yeah, it's great. Like, I forgot how much I like that movie.
Is it Roger Donaldson that directed it?
Roger Donaldson, and you have Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson are the leads. You got Liam Neeson's in there, little Dexter Fletcher. That took me by surprise. So many people, and I just forgot how fast-paced and sort of action-packed the drama is.
Yeah, it's been years since I've seen it. It was one of my old man's favourite films, funnily enough. And so I saw it quite a few times. I'll definitely have to pick up the Blu-ray. What's the packaging like? It looks pretty schmicko. It's one of those hard boxes. And...
Yes, it's pretty much the same as most of their other box ones that have got the 2 Blu-rays inside the box. And then
so they've got both versions of the film.
No, the second one is all the special features, which a lot of it is new. So you got the first one with the movie and some old, archival, special features. Then another disc with alternative cover art and just newer interviews and documentaries and things.
All right.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And do you get a booklet or anything like that with it?
Yeah, I think there was a booklet in there. I can't remember. Yes, no, there was. There was definitely a booklet.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, they're expanding because prior to that, they were just doing the hard boxes with the discs in, maybe a soundtrack and that. But now I like that they're actually doing those, box sets with a book and thing. Because, I mean, that box is huge. you could just fit it into a 2-disc, tray with a nice slipcover. So if you're going to do the box, stick a book into it. But yeah, that's all the release this week. Anything else that's coming out? It's only coming out on DVD. And
Except for one. And it is only on DVD, and I do want to talk about it because...
Is it The Outwaters?
Our friends at Eagle are releasing Timescape, and we have the director of that movie on next week's show, so got to get that plug in there.
Timescape. Yeah, right.
The original.
No, in America it's called Timescape. It's been retitled in Australia as Timescape Back to Dinosaurs. It's like a kid's adventure time travel movie. It's very, very much like Flight of the Navigator. It's about a couple of kids that get into a spacecraft that takes them back to the dinosaur age. But
are you sure? Did they not have to go to arbitration and call it Lee Daniels Timescape?
What I love about this, and look, for a kid's film, it's quality. The director himself is the guy that made Battle for Terror. I don't know if you remember that one from years ago with Justin Long and who was he? There's a couple of Hollywood A-listers in it, and he's like a special effects guy that's worked for Lucasfilm and James Cameron, and he did effects on it, Titanic and things like that. So. Anyway, he's on the show.
On the recent Titanic, the one where they went in and... No? Okay. Not that one.
No. That one bombed.
Timescapes. Now, tell me this, Ben. That's the one with Jeff Daniels that came out through CBS Fox or whatnot back in the day on video. Yes, and then it's US titles, The Grand Tour, which I only learned recently because MVD released it on Blu-ray. Yeah, I was super surprised. I was like... Oh, because I thought it was an entirely different film. I was like, how have I not seen this Jeff Daniels film from the early 90s? I followed his career quite closely. And then, yes, it turned out it's Timescape.
Yeah, right. I thought it was called Timescape everywhere. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's not. And the poster art's fantastic. It's all about like time travel tourism. What a good movie. They remade it with Casper Van Dien. Do you remember that? It was called Thrill Seekers.
No,
I didn't know that it was a remake of that.
Well, it's the same story. I don't know if they're calling it a remake, but it's exactly the same premise. And Thrill Seekers, because I had heard of that first and watched it, and then I thought, hang on, they've remade it, and then realized the remake that I thought was the remake was actually the original.
They should do another remake and maybe hire Scott Atkins to be in it or something of that
I'm down for that.
And now, Glenn, did you see, the new Sniper film's doing the rounds? I assume that people are somehow illegally downloading it or something of that nature from overseas because there's
depends which one you're talking about, because the 10th one, which is supposed to be the new one, has not had any kind of thing released. I think the one you're talking about is number 9, has just actually hit every single platform in America, and it's gone to number 1, so it's had a resurgence.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I did see some people sharing, and it's hard to know when they don't put the numbers next to the title and they just have, a subtitle, a byline. It's very confusing.
Do you know do you happen to know what it was called, or you didn't?
No. I just saw it pop up and I thought, look, has it gone digital in the States? And people are going, wild for it, and then we'll have a physical. No, there you go. So it's just,
me, I check it,
locking up the views. Yeah, go into the IMDb page and go.
Is it out yet?
Well, I'll keep my eyes peeled for any details that relate to number 10. Okay, so that's it, gentlemen. That's all the news I have for you for this week. But it's great seeing Ben's face, and I hope you're feeling better soon, Glenn.
I know, I can't shake this bastard, mate. Can't shake it.
And has it prevented you from going to the movies at all, or have you been able to?
No, I went and saw Indiana Jones because, as you know, I got to the Indiana Jones preview or premiere, and 5 minutes before the film started, they kicked on their air conditioner. It fucked with my throat, and I had a coughing fit that I couldn't get rid of, and I didn't want to be that guy at IMAX that disrupted everybody. So I looked at my wife and said, "We have to leave before it starts." So we left. And I got good the second I got in the car. It was the air conditioner was full of dust, and it was fucking with me. So I, cut to a week later. I saw it on opening night, and so all is good in the world.
And what was the attendance like going to see a movie on opening night at a? I
reckon there was
cinema?
probably 15 people in the cinema, and we were at VMAX.
Wow!
So yeah,
that's so it. I guess it's just across the board, because as much as we can say, people aren't, concerned about, COVID or whatnot, but let me say, it feels like they've just dropped off completely.
Well, let me say this though: the cinema complex itself was packed. Right, the line at the candy bar was huge, and they were all. I thought everyone's here for Indiana Jones, but they all went into probably whatever else.
Transformers,
yeah. And I just think maybe it's the Indiana Jones fatigue. Like, he's too old for young viewers to really get into.
course,
and
yes.
a lot of people are still jaded after the last one. So maybe it's just Indiana Jones has had his time, and
Disney must be going, God, man, this Lucas thing. We're going to have to turn this Indiana Jones thing into a streaming series. That's the only way to go with these franchises.
The tables are turning on Kathleen Kennedy. She's copying it online.
Oh, I'm seeing it online. There's so many videos on YouTube, and a lot of people taking interviews and cutting things.
Spielberg's come out, like an interview with Spielberg has come out recently about how she's a woman who has no ideas but likes to put them out there anyway. She's not a creative.
Right.
And
yes.
she and he said she interrupts every meeting you have with ideas, and they're just not actually ideas.
Right. Wow.
So she's copping it big time.
That's my job.
I look forward to hearing I assume you're going to be talking about it on this episode, so I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the film.
Yeah, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I haven't yet, so
I haven't seen it.
Still processing it?
I can give you my thoughts now if you want to.
Yeah, please.
I won't spoil the movie itself, but
no. For the listeners, you can spoil it for me all you want, but the listeners, think of the listeners.
I think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull's better. This is by far the worst Indiana Jones movie.
Oh wow!
Okay.
And I think when people see it, they'll understand why. And I think if anything, this one gives a little bit more appreciation in retrospect for what Crystal Skull did. So
yeah. Well, I mean,
what I will give it though,
it's not having the effect that The Force Awakens had for episodes 1, 2, and 3, though, is it?
It definitely
where you're like, that wasn't bad because the last ones were shit, but now
it definitely recaptures the Raiders of the Lost Ark aesthetic. Like the look of the film is very, very Indiana Jones, but it's so lackluster and boring and bland. Like it's really bland. And I could go into further details that would spoil the film, but no.
Well, it's funny to think, here we have a franchise that's got 5 films over the stretch of like over 40 years now. But then we've got Mission Impossible, which is just about to come out with the 7th film.
I have seen that, and it's awesome. It is.
Awesome. Excellent! I'm going Monday. I can't wait. I'm super excited. Oh, it's excellent!
Fantastic.
7 films for that franchise. I mean, it was some wrong footing early in the piece, corrected itself, and it's a franchise that's only been going for like less than 30 years, and
it's giving James Bond a run for its money, man. It is giving.
Why don't they make Tom Cruise Indiana Jones? Sorry, I just had a Kathleen Kennedy moment.
I would be down for a complete restart of Indiana Jones with a new young lead that's in it for a good 5 movies. I'd be down for that.
I mean, they could do like the Atlantis storyline and all that sort of stuff.
There's so many Indiana Jones books. They've got the Young Indiana Jones TV series with great stories. Apparently, George Lucas had mapped out the entire storyline from Young Indy to Raiders of the Lost Ark, also Temple of Doom, I should say. That there's 2 or 3 seasons they never got to do of those stories. So there's heaps.
Wow, it's already written and it's waiting. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Kathleen Kennedy's going to be listening to this podcast. She's heard that and she's like, all right, Indiana Jones, Young Indiana Jones, we're doing it again. We're doing it on streaming.
Is this my biggest problem with Young Indiana Jones, and I quite enjoyed it, but I've never cared for that what's his name? Neil Patrick Flannery or whatever the hell.
Is it Sean Patrick?
Sean Patrick. Yeah.
The Boondock Saints, is that
Boondock Saints and Suicide Kings and stuff and Simply Irresistible. That's his kind of big.
Is that the one with Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yeah.
Because
she cries into the food.
Yeah,
and she makes men fall in love with her.
That's right.
Yeah,
is that grooming? Oh, I guess if they're of an age, it's not grooming.
Oh no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Questionable.
It doesn't count when women do it.
No, that's right.
Can I quickly broach the topic then? Of I don't actually know the actress's name because I haven't followed her career that closely. I do know the character that she played on YouTube, and she had that awful Netflix series, Haters something. Haters. I don't know what it's called. Haters gonna hate. No, that's a Taylor Swift song.
The love
Haters,
you hate. I don't know.
Haters back off or something like that. She plays this. She's actually quite a beautiful woman.
I don't know what you're talking about.
She's in her mid-30s, but she plays like this nerdy character with lipstick all over her face, and she's like, You don't know about this?
Nope.
Anyway, she's a very attractive woman. She plays this character that's just over the top, like Norman Gunston style sort of thing,
like a Catherine Tate type.
Like a Catherine Tate type, but probably even
Tracy
more
Ullman
a
type.
caricature. Like it's huge. But yeah, no, it's been in the news the last week that she was the Netflix deal, when she was, cultivating a YouTube audience and character, and she was talking with, young men, that are like 13 or something, and she sent one of them her bra and panties and stuff like this, and was like unloading her emotional baggage, like had them up until like 3 or 4 in the morning talking about the breakdown of her marriage at the time and all this. And now it's all come to the surface. It all started with strange reports of her live show where she would invite people up on stage and they'd be underage and they'd do sort of humiliating things, and then it spiraled into all these people coming out of the woodwork to go, hey, when I was 13 I was in this weird relationship with her where she would just, disclose all her emotional issues and, ask me about, sex things and that. Anyway, it's a very interesting thing because I don't think we've actually ever seen a female who, is clearly attractive, possibly talented. Like I said, that show's awful. I don't dig the character. And has a huge audience. Her stars sort of, moving upward, and then now she's sort of being, sort of taken down by all these stories.
What it normally is, it's normally when you do hear of females doing it, it's usually teachers. And
yes,
then you get people like us that quite often say, geez, if only when I was that age.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All my teachers were like 80 years old and they're all blokes.
They showed no interest.
Yeah, precisely. I will end it on this weird thing though. Is that
so this is staying in? Okay, good.
Yeah, this is definitely staying in. Like you'll have to look up who she is to mention in the episode after we finish talking.
All right.
But she's released not so much a statement because she's being forbidden from releasing a statement by her her people. So instead of releasing a direct statement, she's actually released a 10-minute song she plays on a ukulele.
All right.
And it's all about, like, I wasn't grooming them, I'm just a sort of strange and odd person and all this sort of thing.
That's all Kevin Spacey needed to do.
I know. Instead, he reprised his character from House of Cards and did a direct-to-camera piece around Christmas. Wrong idea, mate. Get the ukulele and sing a fucking song. That's what's going to make everything smooth out a little. But very odd and definitely worth looking into. But yeah, haters, I don't know what the name. I'm glad I don't know the name because I don't want to plug her stuff. But yeah, it's just interesting to sort of see the turning of the tides and see a completely, different sort of story. But yeah, so,
I don't even know how
that's
it
for me.
I don't know how.
I don't. Grooming, apparently, I don't know. An offhand comment about grooming, and it turned into something like quite a beast. But anyway, gentlemen, I'll let you go. And I'll look forward to talking to you next week about some upcoming home entertainment releases, of which there's a few.
Excellent. Thanks, mate.